POWLAX, and in this video we're going to be discussing some special situations in a live context. So we're definitely going to hit man down face-off, man down clears, and then end game doubles and trying to hold the ball if you're up one. But so let's get into it. So this video is going to be brought to you by POWLAX.com, and making sure you like and subscribe on YouTube. It definitely helps the channel. POWLAX.com is where we keep all of our strategy stuff. Go check it out. Have fun. Look around. If there's anything that you guys need added, definitely let me know. So this video is going to be about special situations, and I got a request to do some of these special situations, and so we're going to do it live so that if you are watching live, you can ask questions and maybe we can get to some other context that you want. Like, special situations are fun because each one is its own unique experience. And so I remember getting a couple, requests to do man down face off and then kind of like end game doubles because they're so different depending on what rule set you're using. And so if there are any specific situations that you would like to have gone over, definitely just let me know. Give me a second. I got to plug in the kids monitor. All right. Had to kind of figure that would happen. But so if you're watching live, definitely let me know if you have any questions. And so we're going to get right into man down face-offs first. So when we consider man down face-offs, the first thing that I think of is not giving up unnecessary strategy, or basically everybody knows what we're going to be doing on man down. So for the most part, if we're in a man down face-off situation, I won't actually send in our face-off specialists if they don't know and can't do everything we need them to do on man down anyway. So in those situations, what I usually do is I'll send in one of our best ground ball players, whether it's a pole or whether it's a short stick, and we will have them face trying to get the ball versus trying to win. Now, if we've got a face-off specialist who is winning the draws a lot, I'll send him in because I think we'll be able to gain the ball and gain possession as that happens. But for the most part, the personnel is the most important. I don't want to give up a too easy man up for the other team if I don't have to, right? And it really depends on who your face-off specialist is and making sure that whoever that is can operate within the man down context. Now, I only have one decent video of the man down face, and really you're not going to be too worried about giving up transition. But if you do use your face-off specialist and he loses the ball, now you're going to have to worry about whether you're going to sub them or not and what you're kind of giving up in transition. So as we run this, that's the wrong thing. Hold on. Get over here. As we run this, you'll notice that Duke, so it's Duke versus Richmond. Duke's man up. Duke ends up winning this ground ball, but you'll see right here, notice how this player is going to be coming off of the field. The only reason he's able to do it is because this pole goes off as well, and so does the face-off specialist. So right now they're even. But so as he's heading in, this defensive midfielder's heading in, if you don't have really good subs in terms of someone manning the box and maybe subbing through the midline and doing all of that, I would leave that alone. It really depends on if you are a team that can do it. I would put on the defensive personnel and just try to win the ball. Oftentimes that'll actually create a really good situation, especially at the youth level, because if you're not playing a face-off man that knows how to pull the ball to the right places and to utilize the wing that's open, and I think even with the new one-step rule, it's pretty difficult to pull the ball with distance to your, not your draw side wing, your offside wing. So here, as the ball is one out, like if this was Duke and he was lined up on the midline here, that pull would be very difficult. So the Richmond guy actually wins the pull, but then, they play out the ground ball. But the ability of a face-off man to win the ball directly to one of their own players is definitely something I would evaluate. And if you think your guy can win, he can win. But for the most part, we're just going to go in man down. Now, The next, let me know if you guys have any questions on that. If you do have questions and you ask later when we're not live, don't worry. I'll try and get to them in a next live coming up. And now I'm actually going to see if I can find something else. We'll see if we do it. So now we're going to transition into endgame doubles. Now, endgame doubles are something that is massively different for particularly my team in high school versus a good amount of the high schools out east, because they've added shot clocks, right? We have not added shot clocks yet, which means that we are still locked in the box under 2 minutes if we're up by 1, and that's a massive advantage for the defensive team, right? In terms of not being able to utilize the entire half of the field. And so with that understanding in place, we are going to operate this as if we don't have to do that from a college perspective, but you're still doing the same things, whether it is from the perspective of the defensive team or the offensive team. So within this, we're just going to watch the Penn State Maryland, the end of the game. I want to say this was 2019. And now as they're playing, what you're going to end up seeing is the goalie is going to come out of the cage, right? So as the goalie comes out of the goal, he is going to send someone else to go double. Now, if you have a very athletic goalie that can double and is a good defensive player, have the goalie just go double. For the most part, that's not the case. And so what they're going to want to do is they're going to want to go play a player off ball and lock them off and then send someone to the double. So now, as the goalie comes upfield, he is looking for someone to defend, and he's going to come all the way out of the goal as far as he needs to come in order to pick someone up. Now, this is a lot easier in my high school ball where you have to stay in the box. But so as the defensemen are now going to double the ball, everyone else needs to lock off. So they have to lock off their men. Now, if we give up a goal here, we were down anyway. We're just down more now. A lot of times, if you've got 90 seconds left, you may even want to have them score so that they're not just eating up clock. Because if you're down by 1 and you've got a really good face-off guy, then you're thinking about the idea of even having them score and then winning a draw to get to offense to score, to win another draw to get to offense to score again. It really depends on your personnel and how you want to play it and what your strategy is going to be. So as we roll this, the goalie comes out. You know, he's not really playing anyone here, but so we're still pursuing this double because we're locking off everywhere else. Not sure what this player's thinking, but he ends up getting driven over the midline. It's over and back, and that's kind of the situation we have. Now, I don't know what's in some of these other clips, but we can see where these go for the others. So here, you see the goalie coming out saying, hey, you know, someone pick this guy up. And now we'll see when he ends. Oh, so he just ends up going to be the double now as well. So that can work in the same situation as well in terms of how to win the end game double. But so those are the two kind of ideas that I wanted to hit. One thing I'll say is that a way to train this is actually to run a 10-man. And so if you just run a 10-man ride and you have the goalie come out and like talk with the defenseman near an attackman as your offense is playing, it'll help them with the idea of just coming out. So essentially, when your team's on offense, you have your goalie come out and talk to a defenseman. Every time the ball is cleared by the other team and you being in riding, the goalie just runs back into the goal and he gets back into goal. But it gives him the perception of being out of the goal and having the ability to get back into the goal. Then once he's comfortable and you say, you know, instead of you running back into the goal, we're going to send a pull upfield to double in the open field if it's over midfield, or to just, you know, put some more pressure on them before they cross the midline. You give the goalie the experience of being out of the cage. And I think that's very important if you're going to be running endgame doubles or your 10-man ride, but it just gives them that experience. And so that's definitely a decent way to train it. Within the high school level now, having to keep it in the box. Last year we even had an experience where we were playing a team and we didn't even put it. It was a timeout on the end line outside the box, and we tried to not put our goalie on the field. Now, you have to put a goalie on the field, but you just put them in attack, because if they're going to score, they're going to score, right? But so if we can have 7 defensive players on the field that can cover well, and we can pursue that double without having to give up passes, that's a great thing. But you don't have to put your goalie on the defensive side of the field, but there does have to be a goalie on the field. So, and then as you're clearing, you'd probably just have him bump over as someone came to the offensive end for them. But it's just a way it's another possibility in terms of how you want to play it. But once again, if you are in an end game situation, you'd almost rather have them score so you could win a face-off to go play offense to score again. But you don't want them sitting behind the goal for 2 minutes just not knowing what to do. So you've got to make sure your goalie's trained to come out, to push towards the double, and then play through. And so that kind of wraps up my overall thing. So within the man down face-off, just to cover it one more time, just to make sure for the people who might be here live, if they have any questions, basically my thought process on man down face-offs is make sure you have the personnel to get in to play man down. So we're going to have a player play who's going to pursue the ball rather than someone who might be able to win the face-off. If you've got a face-off guy that's been winning cleanly and to themselves, have them take the face-off, have them try to get it to the offensive end, know that the double is going to be coming, and if you can get it to the offensive end, great job. You've done your job. But for me, it really depends more upon, making sure that you're not having a face-off midfielder that doesn't know what he's doing man down, playing man down. So as the face-off goes, they're going to end up subbing this guy for Richmond, but that's only because the pole and the face-off specialist for Duke are also going to sub off the field, right? So as they both sub, now this player's an attackman. We've got one midi versus one midi. Now, if Duke wanted to press and transition and play a 5-on-4 break here, they could, which is better in theory than a 6-on-5 man up. But overall, I would way rather have one of my best defensive midfielders who's a good ground ball player to try to play the face-off. Now, one thing to mention is if you're going to defend and try to win the face-off, you're going to want to make sure your pole, who's on the face-off, is going to be on their face-off man's draw side wing. So whichever side he naturally pulls to, that's going to be the one that you're going to want to make sure he's on, because it's really difficult to pull towards the head of the stick with the new face-off rules. But so that is going to wrap it up for our special situations. If you guys have any questions, throw them in the chat right now. And so we'll kind of hang out for a minute if there's any other weird special situations, let me know. I am going to do this really quick, and I'm going to see if I can't find some video of a couple of other special situation ideas. The big key to any of those is just recognition of whether you want to kind of pursue, if you want to pursue having turnovers and things of that nature, it kind of just depends on how you're going to want to do it. Raven, if you're down by only one, what should the score limit be? So for my high school, so basically the question was, if you're down by only, so he says Raven, which I'm pretty sure is his call to have the goalie come out. But Tim, is that right? Is that your Raven call? Basically, in high school lacrosse for us, if you're down by more than, I think, 4, so if you're down by 5, they won't even have them play in the box, so you don't even have to get it in the box and keep it in. But for the I like to do this no matter what. In the end of the game, if we're down, we're going to pursue this. We're not just going to let them hold the ball, because that's what our guys need to be trained to do if we're close. And so if we are down, that's what we're doing in terms of pushing towards the end game double, regardless of what's happening. Now, you could go another way in that. It kind of just depends on, what the thought process is on your team. Like if you're down, I mean, I think even if you're down by 20, you start to do it. So another thing about the end game doubles is if you get good at it, you can do it in the middle of the game. So let's say we have a team that has pretty decent like end line plays and they have a shot and it goes out of bounds. You can call whatever your end game double call is in the game, have the goalie come out, play a player above the goal, and then pursue the double at X, right, with whatever pole you would want to do, and you just lock off up top. And so it's definitely something that is risky. You're obviously going to be giving up, the goal is going to be open, but for the same, in the same token, if you can create that double and send the double out early, that's a good thing to try to do. The key is you've got to make sure that your players know what they're doing when the ball's coming in off the end line, or if it's a timeout, that it's a timeout where the ball is below GLE. Because if it's not and you just have a shot from 20 yards or whatever, that's not going to work. Like in the Hobart versus Syracuse game, Hobart went into an end game double scenario, but the ball was at the 20-yard line, and he just shot it as the whistle blew and scored. So it wasn't a very... for a collegiate player, they can hit that 30-yard shot pretty much every time. And so, especially if they have 5 yards from the sideline. And so that's kind of the basic idea. But so, that is going to wrap up our special situations thing. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Enjoy your Thursday. Enjoy the season. And yeah, let me know if you guys want to see any other specific situations.